For nearly 4 decades, that has been America's best-selling vehicle. It's the 2024 Ford F-150. And for this model year, Ford brings slight styling tweaks, a stronger base engine, and a lot more technology inside that big cab. So let's go take a look at what it's all about. This F-150 generation was new for 2021. It's now refreshed for the 2024 model year, but not much has changed because it can. Truck buyers want dependability, year in and year out. There's just more of the same goodness. The Tremor has orange accents, especially on the front, where the LEDs actually connect with that orange section in the center of the grille. You won't find that across any other F-150 trim. All the F-150s have new lights. They have all different types of grilles depending on your trim, but I think the Tremor, especially in this dark blue, looks very good. And on the front, there's a steel bumper. You don't ordinarily get that on F-150s, and it's a modular design that's designed to have, say, winches, light bars, other accessories that you can easily bolt straight to the front of the truck. And the Tremor also has 33-inch general grabber all-terrain tires, a nice kind of matte black color on them. Definitely like how that looks, and powder-coated side steps. In this dark blue with the orange accents, it's a really nice truck. While every company is changing their logo today, trying to make them more modern, more sans serif typefaces, the Ford script is just as old as it was 100 years ago. All the changes are, though, that it's not that bright blue anymore, and the typeface is actually a little thicker. So if you went into Adobe Illustrator and you made some changes, put a different overlay, that's what Ford did. They didn't mess with it too much. I like that. Every F-150 now wears new taillights with different LED light patterns. They really sweep gracefully on the side of that bed. And of course, it says Tremor in block letters. And if you couldn't see that from the side or the rear here on the back of the tailgate, the big black dual exhaust tips and those exposed tow hooks are the giveaways that this is the off-road truck. An F-150 is all about powertrain choices. And for this year, there's actually 2 fewer choices. No more diesel, so you're gonna have to step up to the Super Duty, and no more naturally aspirated V6. That one's gone. Now, the stock engine, 2.7-liter turbo V6. Much better numbers than before. Definitely worth it. This one, though, has the Raptor's engine only detuned. It's the 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6, 400 horsepower and 500 foot-pounds of torque. And if that's not okay, well, you can also step up to the Raptor, 450 horsepower, or get the supercharged V8 that's in the Raptor R. I've also tested that one. It's a bit crazy, over 700 horsepower, or the naturally aspirated 5-liter V8. There's just so many choices, but one transmission, a 10-speed automatic, and either 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. This one, of course, being the Tremor, it is 4-wheel drive with a locking rear diff. As for fuel economy, check out those numbers. They're actually pretty decent, and I've been getting over 18 mpg on the highway, so the EPA ratings are pretty decent. As for the rest of the trucks, it all depends on what you're getting. And let's not forget the hybrid. That one we've also reviewed, and it gets the best mileage, but it also doesn't quite work as well as this one, and I'll describe that later. There's 3 cabs and 3 beds. The regular cab has a 6.5 or an 8-foot bed. The Super Cab, which is slightly extended, has a 6.5-foot bed. And if you go for this one, the Super Crew, it's either 5.5 foot, which is what this one is, or the 6.5. Now the Tremor, even though it's riding on the 33-inch tall tires, it's actually 0.4 of an inch lower to the ground than a regular 4x4 F-150. 9.4 inches is still pretty considerable, but really considering this is the off-road truck, you're not getting any more clearance. And that strikes me as a bit odd. For the first time, you can open your F-150 this way. 3 different detents up to 100 degrees. It's called Pro Access, and while this may seem kind of cheesy, well, it's not, because if you have a trailer, say right here, you'd be able to open this and access the tailgate without swinging it down and damaging anything. Of course, you still could if you're not careful here. But once you're inside, there's plenty of space, 62 cubic feet in this bed. The spray-on option, it's still an option, or you can order a drop-in bed liner. I wouldn't do that, but back here, you're gonna find 2 power outlets, up to 2 kilowatts of power on this gas engine, 2.4 kilowatts on other engines, and up to 7.2 kilowatts if you order the Power Boost Hybrid. Also for 2024, there's a new hidden storage box on the right-hand side where you can have small little items and store them away. It's always very roomy inside an F-150, and even roomier when you fold down the shifter and have this optional work console. You can be in this truck all day if you wanted to. Fit and finish are high quality inside the F-150, especially this Tremor model. Not everything is so great, including the leather and the fabric kind of feeling plastic on the doors. I don't know what you call it, that could be better, but the layout, the quality of the switches, and the quality of these screens, so much nicer than a lot of trucks. Up here, you know you're in the Tremor because you got auxiliary switches. That's if you want to install a winch or anything on the front bumper or elsewhere. I just like how it sounds. There's a nice mix of analog and digital controls inside any F-150. There are gobs of space inside an F-150. It truly feels like you're inside a limousine, and with the panoramic moonroof, I think that's a great option to have. It really just airs out the entire cabin, heated outboard seats, plus a 400-watt AC outlet right here. This F-150 has a sport mode that makes it feel almost as quick as a Raptor. That's not an exaggeration. It's the same twin-turbo V6, only mildly detuned, but 500 pound-feet of torque anytime you want. And if you throw it into sport, it will automatically go into 4 high. The response there is great. And there's 7 different driving modes. So it's very weird to be in a sport mode here on an F-150. I cannot emphasize that enough. So let's go back to normal. And you can use the Tremor off-road, but it's really, I don't know, I don't think it's really quite nearly as capable as anything from GM. Ford's 10-speed automatic, which it has co-developed with General Motors, is mostly good. It's kind of clunky at times, but it really does bang off shifts constantly. I'm behind a Dodge Caravan right now, so I can't really show you that. But say if you back off, slow down, it's pretty imperceptible. And I would say I do like how the regular F-150 with this Turbo 6 operates versus the hybrid. That one feels a lot clunkier. Really, you will dust people. You won't, they won't expect it. And honestly, kind of wonder why you'd need the Raptor if you have a truck just like this Tremor. You got to step up to the Raptor R, which I've also tested to really, really notice the difference. But the rest of the truck feels just like an F-150. And by that, you know, the steering is a little loose, off-center. But the ride is excellent. It truly is. Corner's pretty flat. Feels like a luxury car or a luxury SUV. Not very punishing at all when you're in these trucks. And that goes with any single F-150 that you choose. Ford pairs a shorter axle, it's a 373:1 ratio, on this Tremor versus the taller axles you'll find on standard F-150s. And that's to help you gain more traction off-road. It's also got the locking rear diff. And there's a feature that will brake one of the tires to basically tighten your trajectory around mud or sand, things like that. Kind of works like an off-road version of torque vectoring. And that's all well and good, but I don't really consider the Tremor to be a really great off-road option. It's got a skid plate in the front and the metal bumper and these 33-inch all-terrains, but it's not riding any higher than a standard F-150, and it doesn't have the degree of retuned shocks and springs that I would expect. I think General Motors is doing much better in that department. So because of that, I don't find a need to really test this truck off-road. To me, it's more of a looks, but you can disagree all you want. I think if you're going off-road for Ford, you gotta go Raptor. Surprisingly fun. Weird. Like so much power in this engine. And I don't feel out of control. Brake pedal feel a lot better than any GM truck I've driven, so Ford's got the edge on that. A 12-inch touchscreen, which was formerly optional, is now standard. Makes it easy to adjust wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Have this little third carousel over here that lets you switch different views on the fly. I like that. plenty of features, helpfully labeled features. Driver assistance. Now, Blue Cruise is now standard across the F-150 model range, but what the difference is that it's whether you activate it or not. 90 days comes free with purchase, but if you want 3 years, that's over $2,000. So if you want to have all these things actually lit so you can change them, such as lane centering with hands-free, you got to pay. And there's plenty of extra Ford features that are really, really helpful. Pro Power Onboard turns the F-150 into a generator, which on standard models like this, 2,000 watts between the bed and the cab. You can adjust that separately. It will show you the power draw in real time. If you're getting the Power Boost Hybrid, over 7,000 watts of total power. There's also onboard scales, which is a good estimate of your total payload. And it'll actually, if you do this, see how the taillights act like a scale from the outside? That's also really nice. Very useful if you're on a job site, which I'm never on, but some people are. Trail turn assist. This option will actually brake the inner wheels when you're in four-wheel drive. Since I'm not there now, I can't show you that, but when you're on mud and dirt, that does help. And there's also automatic parking, automatic hitching, any sort of system that can help you automate the truck, it is here. The digital instrument panel you see here, that is also standard. Plenty of ways to configure things, including a new head-up display that's never been on an F-150 before, and there's multiple content layouts that will switch depending on your drive mode. So for example, if you just want to switch the driving modes to tow or haul, I love these graphics. Not only does it do that, but it will switch the instrument panel so everything that you actually need is here right at a glance. Plenty of other driving modes with plenty of animations, including a sport mode. And there's also ways to reconfigure some of the top gauges. If you go into settings, you can swap out some of the gauges. For example, if you don't want to see the turbo boost and you want the oil pressure, you can do that. It's all very configurable, but I would like to see full screen maps. That's still not available. The 2024 Ford F-150 starts at $36,965. There are 8 trims. As tested with options and destination on this F-150 Tremor, $80,145. There's only a few competitors. The Chevrolet Silverado 1500, GMC Sierra 1500, Ram 1500, and the Toyota Tundra. And all of those trucks have specialized off-road versions just like this. Year after year, Ford keeps improving the F-150. It's clear the company puts all of its time and resources towards this truck, and they do pay off. All the payload, the towing, the technology inside, and the choice of engines and configurations. This is why this truck continues to lead. But there's plenty of other trucks, so you tell us, is the F-150 the best, or any other full-size trucks your pick? Go to CarGurus.com, we've got all the listings for them, and browse our YouTube channel because we've got plenty of reviews. Subscribe, thank you for watching, we'll see you next time.